This is the Black Information Network Daily Podcast, and I'm your host, Ramses Ja. And sometimes the amount of stories that make their way to us means that we simply can't cover everything that comes our way. But from time to time, a story just stays with me, and I feel compelled to share it with you and give you my thoughts. And now, one more thing. So today, I'm going to share an article that inspired a thought that Q and I have been discussing. This comes from Hip Hop Vibe, entitled "White Woman Asks Reddit If She'll Be Safe at HBCU After Full Ride." Before we start, for those that don't know, HBCU stands for Historically Black College or University, and this white woman is planning on attending. So there's the background. All right. White woman asks Reddit if she'll be safe at HBCU after full ride. A young white woman is set to attend a historically black college and university on a full scholarship. She sparked a debate on Reddit by asking if she will be safe there given her family's racist views. In a Reddit post, the 19-year-old woman, who remains anonymous, shared her concerns influenced by her father's side of the family. She described their background as racist, thus mentioning her father's previous ownership of a Confederate flag until her mother intervened. The student expressed her mixed feelings about their warning, stating, quote, "I don't want to trust them on this, and I've been ignoring their nitpicking and criticizing of my school choice, but they haven't left me alone about it," end quote. Her family's repeated insistence has caused her to question whether there is any validity to their concerns. Also, she asked if she is merely succumbing to their biases. She wrote, quote, "Is there a reason to worry about going to an HBCU on a full scholarship as a 19-year-old white girl? Is it just the nerves that I'm letting get to me?" End quote. Her post has attracted significant attention and varied responses. Many users reassured her that she would be safe and welcomed. Meanwhile, others emphasized the importance of understanding and respecting the cultural and historical significance of HBCUs. Some commenters highlighted the supportive community at HBCUs, suggesting that her experience could be enriching both academically and personally. They encouraged her to embrace the opportunity with an open mind and use it as a chance to broaden her perspectives. This discussion reflects broader societal conversations about race, education, and the integration of diverse backgrounds in traditionally homogeneous spaces. As HBCUs continue to evolve, they play a crucial role in fostering inclusive environments while maintaining their core mission of serving the Black community. The young woman's decision to seek advice on a public forum underscores the challenges and anxieties faced by students stepping into unfamiliar cultural contexts. Her story highlights the potential for growth and understanding that such educational experiences can offer, despite initial apprehensions fueled by outdated prejudices. Again, this is at hiphopvibe.com. If you want to check out the actual Reddit post where people were engaging and commenting with her. As always, I'm joined by Q Ward, and I'm your host, Ramses Ja, and we thought that this was something, along with Chris Thompson, thought this was something worth talking about, because while we ourselves have not attended HBCUs, we are intimately familiar with what they are and their role in creating an educational environment that is free of a lot of the typical experiences that those of us who went to traditional colleges might have encountered. Places where you might feel it's probably strategically best to be a little bit smaller than the conversation or the discussion, or maybe you're singled out because you represent the other side of an argument or an experience that other people have, or whatever. Whereas at an HBCU, if you're a Black person, typically you are there among people who more or less understand who you are, and so you're not singled out, nor are you excluded, nor do you have to make yourself feel small as a result of your race. You're free to be a human being having a human experience among other human beings, not colored by your race. And so this is something that we've come to appreciate. And we've actually been to HBCUs before. One comes to mind, Norfolk State University, where we're on the radio with Civic Cypher. So I guess first things first, what were your initial thoughts when you read the headline, not the article?
My initial thoughts are not all too different from my thoughts after reading the article, after reading the Reddit thread and diving into it. Two things can be possible here. I guess multiple things could be possible, but the two that came to my mind: her racist father, because he's actually racist, is acting in good faith. He thinks that black people are dangerous and scary, and that would be an unsafe place for his daughter to attend school. Or her father is racist, but also intelligent. And it's going to be very, very hard to pass that racism down to my daughter if she goes to an HBCU, only to realize that all these things that I say about black people are factually incorrect. Mm-hmm. That they are kind and intelligent and fun and lively and loving and will support her and wrap their arms around her even though she's not black. You know, this country and its racist past and its racist founders and the racist and white supremacists and homophobes and xenophobes and bigots that still by the tens of millions occupy its land did this really, really interesting thing. They created race in the form of black and white in order to, I'm sure they thought, perpetually exclude the black part.
They did the words black and white were created to delineate the slave class from the non-slave class.
Absolutely.
So you're right.
And for what they thought would be always, though. Mm-hmm. So when they say all these truths and all these rights and all these liberty and justice and all that, that was for the people. And blacks were not people. So all of these things that they escaped, right? Because they came here to establish a new place because they felt wronged where they lived. There was a war that was fought because of this. Mm-hmm. They wanted religious freedom. Mm-hmm. They wanted, they didn't want taxation without representation. They're a long history that if you just read the history, then what black people have experienced in this country for its entirety wouldn't make any sense. Like, wait, you guys fought to escape what you then created, and it would be very confusing. Mm-hmm. And after excluding an entire people, you can't do and you can't be privileged to, and you cannot experience the joys and the freedoms and the rights that come with being white, even after slaves were freed. You guys are black, so you do not get to participate. Black people said, okay. And it's very important to say that because black people did not start a war. We were promised things that we were never given, and we just said, okay. No 40 acres and a mule, okay. No equal protection under the law, okay. We can't use that bathroom or eat in this restaurant or drink from that water fountain, okay. We'll just go over here and build a water fountain and a restaurant. Can't come to this school, okay. We'll just go over here and build a school. You cannot do X, Y, and Z with us, okay. We'll just go over here and do it ourselves amongst each other. And then they looked over where we were and said, well, hey, we don't like that you're doing that either. So we'll burn the entire city down.
Or flood it, or lynch, or kill, or rape, or.
We don't think you deserve to be creative. We don't think you have worthwhile ideas. We don't think that you should be allowed to invest. And we don't think that we should invest in you. So we just went over here and said, okay, we'll just invest in each other and in ourselves. And they said, wait, Supreme Court, that should be illegal too. And then the greatest court in our land said, you know what? you're right. That should be illegal. They should not be able to invest in each other and in themselves.
This is 2024, by the way, what you're talking about.
This is the Fearless Fund, created to give access to resources and capital to those who have been almost, and I mean this almost literally, ignored,
excluded
from venture capital and raising capital gains to start businesses and fund ideas and create companies and generate generational wealth. You guys won't give it to us, so we'll create a fund and give it to ourselves and each other. Wait, you can't do that either. This country wants to now pretend these things don't happen. They want to actively erase their own history. We're not calling it Black or African American history. No, it's American history. You guys established this land and these laws and these practices and used God and Jesus and our founding fathers to justify all of it. For all of its history, we have never in mass scale pushed back. Never. We never took up arms and started a war, which is what now the other side is threatening to do if the other guy wins or loses or it's rigged or whatever they're coming up with to try to justify incoming violence if things don't go how they want them to go, if we don't get taken back pre-Jim Crow. And this young lady, to bring it back to where the conversation started, because I don't know her dad, so this is pure speculation. I don't think he's operating in good faith. If he's operating in good faith, who wouldn't want to protect their daughter?
Yeah, he's just ignorant, so he doesn't know any better.
You know what I'm saying?
He's just afraid. Yeah.
If he's actually afraid that she would be harmed there, then you got to do what you got to do to protect your daughter, even if you're wrong. But I do not believe he's operating in good faith. I believe he understands my daughter is going to go to an HBCU and learn that all of the things that I believe are not just corrupt, but dishonest. I don't even actually believe them. I'm not actually trying to protect her from anything except for truth. Yeah. Because if she's more enlightened, if she's more informed, if she's more educated, she is less likely to be like me. And I don't want that. She's going to meet beautiful, intelligent, wonderful people there. Now, the bad side of that is that what her dad has done is sow seeds of actual doubt. And she will encounter some bad people.
She would at any school.
Bad people exist.
Yeah, at every school, in every race. Yeah, absolutely.
And she will attribute that to them being black. And that was the part that made me most uncomfortable about the fact that she had to come to this space to ask this question in the first place. She's genuinely unsure.
Yeah.
She's got an open mind. She seems like a genuinely kind person, or she wouldn't even be trying to take a full scholarship to an HBCU in the first place.
Yeah.
But the sins of her father, the ideas of her father, the indoctrination of her father, being raised by this man, she cannot be completely autonomous from the way that he feels and thinks, because these are our parents and that's what they do to us. Most of us, the God that we pray to, the way that we live, our worldview comes from our parents. So that's the part that kind of sucks for me, right? She might encounter people that are bad people because they're bad people.
Not because they're black.
And in her mind, that'll be because I went to this HBCU, and her dad will get to point his finger and say, see, I told you.
Well, let me offer my initial thoughts when I read it. Because to be honest, I didn't consider like the background of the conversation, but that does certainly paint her father and her family in a certain light. Well, one of the things that happened to me initially when I read the article was I was sort of filled with a sense of being flattered and a sense of gratitude. And here's what I mean. HBCUs are decidedly black spaces.
Are they exclusively black spaces, Ramses?
No, not exclusively. They're decidedly black spaces. Historically black college and university, it's in the title. But
Well, I hate to be so disruptive, but why would you need to create an HBCU? Why do black people have to have their own school?
I think you alluded to it earlier.
Where everyone can't come. Like what?
Yeah, I think you alluded to it earlier.
Because that seems like reverse racism to me, Ramses.
I get your point, but yeah, you alluded to it earlier in that these were born out of necessity. We weren't initially welcomed into traditional educational spaces for centuries. Let's be honest. And
well, Ramses, those centuries have passed.
Yeah, well, there's
segregation no longer exists. Why do you need an HB? Why do you need a black?
So again,
why do you have to have a black college? Why can't you just have a normal college like everybody else, Ramses?
They are, but historically speaking, they are historically black colleges and universities, and they were founded with the idea of teaching black people skills and giving black people perspectives to thrive in a society that was optimized for white people to thrive, right? And so a lot of the DNA of the foundations, the origin stories of these schools is still there. They're places where blackness is not shunned. It's a part of the experience. It's not anything that you need to hide. It's not anything that's put on full display. There's not a magnifying glass on you. You're not relegated to the back of the classroom either, right? So it's just you get to be a human being among human beings without having to worry about race. Imagine a black person going to Africa and then just going to the store. If a person's following you around the store, it's not because they think you're stealing. I was in Atlanta not too long ago, and there was a security guard that was following me around the neighborhood. We were at your family's house, and I took a walk in the morning. I was walking around the neighborhood. The security guard was following, or maybe he wasn't following. He was just driving around, and he rolled up to me, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble." I grew up on the West Coast, so it's not like Atlanta. And the security guard pulled up, and he was black, and he's like, "It's such a great day for a walk, isn't it?" And I was like, "It absolutely is." He's like, "Enjoy yourself." He had never seen me before. Of course, I don't live there, but he didn't assume, because I'm black in this neighborhood of all mansions, your family was well positioned. Not to put all your business out there, but I need to tell the story. It was a nice neighborhood where normally you wouldn't see a person like me walking around, except this was Atlanta. And so race wasn't a factor. I was able to be a human being taking a walk. You
black people always interjecting or injecting race, Ramses.
Well,
always.
Well, so let me get back. So anyway, her deciding that she wants to go to an HBCU is very flattering to me.
On a full scholarship, by the way.
On a full scholarship, indeed. That's very flattering to me. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to our listeners here. But, for those of you that listen to the content that we create here and the content, especially the content that we create on our radio show, Civic Cypher, you know that Q and I very much work in the allyship space. For all the advancements that black people have made historically in this country, we have done so with the help of allies. We understand the importance of allies in terms of rounding out numbers, in terms of bringing ideas to the table, and not enough can be said about someone who really is working toward a goal that compromises their capacity to achieve whatever it is they want, so that they can share some of that capacity with us black folk, right? These are bona fide allies. And I think allies are often born out of circumstances like the very story we're talking about today, when this woman says, "Hey, I want to go to an HBCU. There's something here that speaks to me. I feel like I might have an experience that is formative, and I'm questioning the way in which I was raised. And if I have an opportunity to go and be amongst these people that I've been taught to fear, that I've been taught to hate, that I've been taught to, regard as lesser or whatever, if I get a chance to go and know them, then I will know my own truth and be able to walk in that truth." And I think that that's sort of the primordial ooze out of which allies are born. And so I'm always flattered. I tend to applaud things like this, where I see a person stepping out of, indeed, what would otherwise be their comfort zone. I'm not mad at people asking questions like, am I going to be okay on a campus? Because, we read a letter on Civic Cipher the other day. I got a present, for those that don't know, I got a present from one of my neighbors for Juneteenth, who listens to the content that we create. This neighbor is a white woman. She brought a present to my house with a note that says, I appreciate, effectually what she communicated was, I appreciate you saving space for us allies to show up clumsily and having a degree of forgiveness for us when we make mistakes on our journey of trying to be the best allies that we can be and the best people that we can be. And I think that speaks volumes to, indeed, the plight of a person who might want to become an ally. And it starts with exploring, who am I in this space? Who are these people? How can I know these people? To be known, fully known, is one of the most intimate of human experiences that you can have. And to know someone is one of the most intimate human experiences that you can provide. Asking questions, taking a genuine interest, right? This is part and parcel to our human experience. And for this woman stepping out, and even entertaining this, but stepping out and asking questions and getting fortification from a Reddit thread or the Reddit community. Some folks they can't go to their local black church or local watering hole and gather their black friends. Some people don't grow up with that. They don't know where it is, and they might indeed feel more afraid. And so even a Reddit thread might provide a little bit of access. Or a person that takes a step like this, I say, bravo. I know there's some people who are like, oh, you need to go to your own schools. This is a black school, blah, blah, blah. That is your opinion, and your opinion is your right. But this is our show, so we can say how we feel about it. And you're welcome to disagree all the time. But that was what originally hit me. My heart was filled with that. I just thought that was a very special thing. To want to be known is, I think, normal. And I want these would-be allies to know who we are, so that they know that allyship, when it's difficult, when it's challenging, is worth it, because we're worth it, despite what they may have been taught.
It's a very interesting yin and yang that you and I share on almost everything, right? Where your mind saw the most hopefulness from it, the most
yeah, that's me.
the most potential from it, and mine said, "Oh man, this could be bad."
Yeah,
because we won't be there to hold her hand.
Yeah.
And she does not have the benefit of having any equity with black people.
Yeah.
So anything that happens to her that is not flattering, that is not fun, that is not comfortable, it's not likely. I won't say it's most likely, because she's the one that's venturing out on this path that those who raised her would have her not venture out on. But she's having doubts. So some of the work that her dad is trying to do is some of those seeds are taking up soil. Mm-hmm. And my greatest fear is that she will encounter people that are bad because they're bad, and she will make that mental math that they're bad because they're black, and that going to this HBCU was a bad idea. Important that she's anonymous so that she won't be a target, but bad that she's anonymous because she can't have allies. Yeah. So it's I love hearing, after my initial thought, hearing your initial thought and how different they are, and realizing in almost a funny way that that's Ramses and Q almost down the
all
line
the time,
for all issues.
Well, I appreciate just kind of that yin yang that we have, because again, I hadn't considered, nor could I consider every possible facet, but I feel like there's a nice balance there, and I think that what rounds out that balance is kind of the interaction that we get from our listeners. So now is your time to shine. We have our thoughts, but we always welcome yours. If you have any, please share them. Use the red microphone talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app, or you can hit me on all social media at Ramses Ja.
I am Q Ward on all socials as well.
And let's keep talking about it. And until we do,
peace.
This has been a production of the Black Information Network. Today's show is produced by Chris Thompson. Have some thoughts you'd like to share? Use the red microphone talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. While you're there, be sure to hit subscribe and download all of our episodes. I am your host, Ramses Ja, on all social media. Join us tomorrow as we share our news with our voice from our perspective, right here on the Black Information Network Daily Podcast.